Welcome back, everybody, to Know It's You and Not Me. I'm your host, Anthony, and we're getting ready to dive into a completely new story. So, if you're ready, buckle up. Here we go. The human asked, "Why does your fleet have no escape pods?" The Galactic Naval Academy's Grand Hall was built to intimidate, with banners of 1,000 conquered worlds. Rows of alien cadets sat in shining uniforms, wings tucked, tails curled, mandibles still. The only anomaly in this perfect symmetry was Cadet Jacob Morrison, the human. A latecomer species, tolerated for diversity quotas, whispered about as the mammal with too many teeth. Jacob had a notebook balanced on his knee and a weary look of someone who had already lived through too many bad group projects. Professor Yuriktal, an avian elder with feathers that shimmered like steel, strutted to the center. His wings flared just enough to silence the hall. "Observe," he cried, activating a massive hologram. The flagship Invictus rotated in shimmering detail, all brutal elegance and curved armor plates. "This vessel embodies our empire's philosophy. Unyielding, absolute. The very idea of defeat is alien to it. Thus you will note." He paused dramatically. "The absence of escape pods." Cadets murmured reverently. Some even tapped claws against the desk in respect. Jacob stared. His pencil stopped mid-scribble. "Wait, no escape pods?" The room went dead quiet. Dozens of aliens turned towards him. Glowing orbs, multifaceted lenses, slit pupils narrowing in unison. Professor Yuriktal's beak curved in amusement. "Ah, our human guest. You seem confused." The insectoid cadet, 2 rows up, clacked his mandibles. "Pods are for the weak. Warriors do not flee." A feline cadet's tail flicked disdainfully.
"To abandon one's ship is to abandon one's honor."
Professor Yuriktal nodded gravely. "Precisely. Escape pods imply the possibility of failure. Our empire does not fail." The hall rumbled with approving clicks, hisses, and trills. Jacob blinked. "You're kidding, right? Tell me you're kidding." Jacob leaned forward, pointing at the hologram. "Look, I get the whole honor thing. But what happens if the reactor explodes? Or your hull gets split in half? You're not retreating, you're just surviving. Pods don't make you cowards. They make you not dead." Gasps, hisses, and feather ruffling erupted across the room. One avian cadet squawked indignantly, "Death in duty is glorious." Jacob shot back, "Yeah, glorious for you maybe, but what about your family? Your shipmates? You think your mom's gonna hang your burned uniform on the wall and say, 'Ah, yes, my child exploded heroically,' instead of stepping into a perfectly good lifeboat?" Half the class winced. A few tails dropped. A younger avian cadet raised a hesitant wing. "Professor, last cycle, my uncle perished when his vessel detonated. Would escape pods not have prevented that?" The professor froze. his feathers fluffed in agitation. "We do not discuss that matter." The hall rippled with unease. Jacob rubbed his temples. "So, you know this is a problem? And you still... Okay. On Earth, we have a saying. Don't put all your eggs in one basket." Every avian cadet stiffened. Their feathers bristled. "Why?" one whispered in horror. "Would you put eggs in a basket?" Another flapped their wings nervously. "What happens if the basket falls?" The hall erupted in panic, chatter, avian cadets squawking, insectoids clicking anxiously, felines muttering, "Eggs in baskets?" like it was heresy. Professor Uruk-Tal screeched, "Silence!" Jacob held up his hands. "That's my point. Escape pods are just extra baskets. If one ship blows up, you don't lose all the eggs." Silence fell. One insectoid cadet tilted his head. "So the pods are like secondary victory vessels?" Jacob seized the opening. "Yes, exactly. Survivors live to fight again. Isn't returning to battle more honorable than turning into space dust?" The cadets murmured. A few nodded. The professor's feathers bristled furiously. "No! No! This is dangerous human rationality. You would have us tarnish our tradition with pragmatism." Jacob sighed, muttering loud enough to be heard. "Man, I can't believe the galaxy's deadliest fleet lost to common sense." The room exploded into chaos. Aliens shouted over each other in a dozen different dialects. Some argued pods were dishonor. Others whispered about family members lost to reactor breaches. Professor Yuktal squawked furiously, wings flailing, as his once united class began to fracture before his eyes. Jacob leaned back smirking. All it took to rattle an empire's pride was one obvious human question. Why does your fleet have no escape pods? Thanks for joining me, everybody. If you enjoyed this, then make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when I put out some new stuff. If you did enjoy it and think you know somebody else that might enjoy it, make sure you share it around with them. We appreciate all your support. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.